This is the world's first quad mopping robot mop. It is called the Botslab Robot Mop M20. So it has 4 mops in it that do spin at 200 RPM. They apply 10 newtons of pressure, so they're going along scrubbing the floor. And the idea behind having 4 mops instead of the typical 2 you see is, of course, it does give us a lot more coverage with the mop when it gets round, so it is able to clean more efficiently and a little faster than other setups. Now it does have this auto clean station, so it'll go back in that when it needs to. It'll clean the mops, but also dry them out. The M20 supports Alexa and Google Assistant, and it does have a battery capacity of 3,200 milliamp hours, which will allow it to run up to 180 minutes. Other features of it do include a fully featured application and a carpet sensor, because the last thing you want it to do is go over carpets when it's specifically designed to just mop only. So it will detect mats and carpets and not go over those. In the box of the Robot Mop M20, you'll find our power cables, user manual, network configuration instructions with QR code, stickers, a brush for cleaning the water tanks, 4 mops, this right here, which goes in the base of the base station of course, and then our mopping robot. This is the self-cleaning base station of the M20. So the button at the top there, you press it to start the clean, or you press and hold for 2 seconds to enter the self-cleaning mode. It does have the Botslab logo here by 360 that is illuminated with an LED, and the lower area is where the mopping robot will end up docking. So that's where it will clean those 4 little mops right in here. And that's why they include the brush, because later on you will need to pull this out and just give it a clean, because that will end up collecting a little bit of dirt and things, what isn't sucked up to the waste tank. As you can see, there are 4 little rollers in there either side, so that's when it goes in, just to aid it when it goes back here to charge. So the charging contacts are right in here. Then the 2 tanks, which are located at the top here. Now the lid does have some little magnets in it, so when you close it, it stays in place. It doesn't rattle. The plastics and the build quality overall are good. It doesn't look or feel cheap. Opening it up, very easy to remove the dirty water tank, which is of course the gray tank here. So you can just pull that out with ease. And we have our clean water tank too. Now the clean water tank has an opening at the top with a little rubber gasket, so you can easily fill that up. And both of them do open up. There is a latch on the side of them. So you pull that, you can open it right up and then tip out the dirty water. Then the back of the base station, you'll find a handhold there to help you when you move it about. Our power cable with a Velcro strap for cable management, and then some vents at the rear. Remember, this not only cleans those mops, but it also does dry the mops as well. Then let's take a look at the design of this mopping robot. So it looks very similar to 360's robot vacuum cleaners. However, of course, there's no dustbin within it. 360 logo, we've got a home button, power button, and pressing both of them at the same time for around 3 seconds, it resets the network and you can connect it up then with the application. This is a step that you have to do when you first get it. In order to reduce the height of this robot vacuum so it can get under couches, sofas, and around things, they don't have the LiDAR tower on the top, but it is located at the front here. So that is where it's scanning everything, and it's precision mapping that it does have, combined with some other sensors up the front. Now it has a bit of rubber here, so it still has that bump sensor like you'd see with other robot vacuum cleaners or robot mops. Then our 4 mops on the underside of it. So these rotate at 200 RPM. They apply 10 newtons of pressure to the floor. So it is basically scrubbing the floor, and each one of them is very easy to remove. You just need to pull up on them. They come out, and we've got a microfiber cloth around it, and it's just Velcro that's holding them in place. So very easy to remove them, clean them, and then they simply just pop back on like so. We have the 2 suspended tires here with a bit of suspension to them, and then our 360-degree wheel at the front, and then the full sensors around the outside so it can detect any drops, and even a carpet sensor right here. Now there'd normally be, if it was a robot vacuum, the brush in the middle to sweep and of course suck up debris, but we don't have that because this is simply a mopping robot vacuum. Then finally at the rear, our 2 charging contacts and a reset button to factory reset it. Then our app, which is called Botslab. Now going into it, you'll see that we do have the robot mop there, M20. Now you do need to set it up, add it first. You have to register, have an account, and yes, you do need to pair it up to your Wi-Fi network. Going into it now, you will see a saved map. So there's the map area. You can see the battery life at the time that it's been cleaning before the previous runs. You can swap over to a 3D view of the map, save the maps, edit the maps, and in here, if you go into where the map mode is, you're able to edit these maps. Now you can add room naming, no-go zones. You can split the area. You can merge areas too with the rooms. So it's quite fully featured there with it. And do remember that it does have that mode where it will detect carpets and avoid them because you don't want to be mopping over a carpet for obvious reasons. So you do have an option here to clean, zone clean, the whole house, rooms, and if you swipe up here, you get the option. So you can see that how many times would you like it to mop. You've got the self-cleaning mode, so you can clean by time, or smart self-cleaning. It will go back when it decides that it's dirty enough, clean those mops, and continue on with its cleaning. You've got options there for the voice control, for the voice feedback that you get from it. And do remember, it does support Alexa and Google Assistant to this particular mopping robot. So there are a few other settings in here. Just go into this. We've got the cleaning info for the base, self-cleaning base. You can get it to clean the mops, dry the mops, and it'll tell you if, of course, the dirty water is full or you've run out of the clean water. And then finally, there's a whole bunch of other settings in here. There's even a child lock mode. You can set up scheduled cleaning, and there are firmware updates if they ever need to push those out. Now, when you get it to map first, there is a fast mapping option, and it's recommended because it will only take then a very short amount of time because it's not cleaning, it's just mapping the rooms first, and then you can do the deep clean and go through that. And how it cleans is very similar to the 360 robot vacuums that I have also covered and reviewed, that it will go around the edges first. Because of the height of it, there's no LiDAR tower on the top that you typically see. They've moved it to the front of it. It can get into areas where others could not. So under low beds, sofas, couches, it'll be able to get under them, mop in there. Now it is applying that 10 newtons of pressure as it mops with the 4 mops, and it will be scrubbing the ground, and I've seen that the results around the house are very good. So once it goes all around the edges, basically the border of everywhere, it starts to fill it in, zigzagging. It goes back and forth, and this is how it is efficient and it's clean, that it's not missing any zones, which is great. And it does a reasonably quick job. However, it will need to go back. It will decide, if you leave it on the smart option, into the auto self clean station here too. So it goes in there, it will rinse out those mops and then head back and finish the job. Once it's finished it, it'll do the same thing, clean the mops, but then dry them. I just wanted to give you a sample of first what it sounds like when it's in action. It's quiet. It's only around about 40 decibels. And then when the auto clean station here is doing its thing, when it rinses it out, you hear it makes a bit of a gurgling noise. You can hear it rinsing those mops and then spinning them up. But overall, it's not too loud, and definitely nothing like the robot vacuums, which have the auto empty stations. They're so loud. So here's that sample. So yes, it makes a little bit of noise, but as mentioned, not as loud as some other auto empty stations. This is just simply cleaning them. Now I did put it to a very difficult test, and that was to mix up a bit of coffee with dirt, spread it all over the white tiles of the house, and let it sit there for 2.5 hours so it was dry. It's baked on pretty much. And the first pass, it went over it. You can see it pretty much gets rid of everything, although you can see there's a little bit of dirt still left. It's not quite as white as it should be, those tiles. Then on the second pass, as it went over it, it got everything. And those little tiny black dots you see there, they're just little small chips in my tiles, unfortunately. So that's not actually dirt. So it got everything there. Very good mopping performance, and it's definitely one of the strengths of it. And really overall, I think it is the best robot mop that I have covered so far. It really is good with the cleaning performance. The fact that it's wider now at the rear of it because it's got the 4 mops instead of others which just use the 2 mops there, a little bit more efficient. But of course, there is an obvious con to a robot mop like this, and that is that it doesn't sweep or vacuum. No, it's not part of it at all. And when you actually start the app and you go to start a new mopping sequence there, a new clean, it will tell you that. It will tell you to sweep first. So that's the obvious con, that it's not going to be sucking up anything first. You need to go and vacuum first, or at least sweep a little bit first before you send out the Robot Mop M20 there to clean up. Other than that, which is an obvious, so far it seems excellent, really good if that's what you're after, to maintain your floors looking really nice and clean, have them mopped, then it is worth a look here, the Botslab Robot Mop M20. Thank you so much for watching this video.